Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and if you're returning, welcome. So, this video, do not be deceived by the thumbnail or the final look. This is a what not to do. So let's get into it. First, I started out right with skincare. I used a moisturizer from e.l.f. and an oil. But it's a body massage oil from Waleda. You know, the company that makes skin food. Anyway, skin food was amazing, and so is this oil, but I don't think it's ideal for makeup or the face. So that's probably one of the reasons I went wrong. And I also didn't do any other skincare aside from this one. So my face must have been a little bit dehydrated and dry at the end. But look, it was glowing though. It was glowing, which convinced me that I had finished skin prep and I was good to go. The first part of my makeup application that I did was my eyebrows, and I just used this eyebrow gel thing from Essence. It's cheap, it's nice, it matches my eyebrows, and so I use it. I tried to shape my eyebrows, but it's been really difficult lately, and so I decided to just do the best that I can with what I got, and that's all I could do. Honestly, I always give up halfway in my eyebrows because they never turn out the way I want. They never turn out the way I expect, and they really don't like to comply. And then I went to fill it in with an eyebrow pencil, or it must have been just a brown liner. But use a brow pencil because I think those are designed to kind of stay on the brow, because this one was kind of moving and it didn't make the best shape because it was slippery, and so I had to comb it out and make it a nice shape, and it doesn't really stay on for very long. So I'm thinking I should have added a powder onto my eyebrows to kind of matte them out first, and then to shape my eyebrows I added a concealer. This concealer was honestly a bit too bright for my eyebrows. In the end, it made my eyes look more hooded than they are. Now I did the right thing by underlining only the bottom part of my eyebrows and not the top with the same concealer. However, it was still too light. I should have used something that was more my skin tone, or like a teeny tiny bit lighter. But this is my highlighting concealer, so I thought it'd be okay, because most people in their tutorials, they do end up using a very much lighter concealer. I did add like the leftover residue on the top of my eyebrows, which helped them shape them out, but I overthink my eyebrows a lot and I end up ruining them, and you'll see me touch them often during this video because there's just always something for me to like perfect, and I'm adding more and more, or removing and adding more and more. So by the end, this shape here, I'm kind of happy with it, but in the end it kind of looks a bit wonky. And so I finished my eyebrows, and next was my base. My base is is obviously the most important part of my makeup, one that I usually know how to do pretty well, but this time it just didn't work out at all. So I did start out with a primer, the e.l.f. Hydro Grip Primer, I believe that's what it's called. It's an amazing primer, one of my all-time fave. Again, you see me touch my eyebrows. Yeah, that's not ideal. So once I let that matte down, the primer, I added a highlighter. I do like to do this because it adds a natural glow to my makeup, and I don't have to add highlighter in the end, so it kind of looks more natural. However, I just kept adding more and more highlighter, and eventually I think all that glitter ended up building underneath the foundation or the other base products that I'm gonna put in later. And here I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm like, ooh, this is gonna look good, but like it didn't look good in the end, obviously. So for foundation, I used the Halo Glow by e.l.f., which is not really a foundation. It's supposed to go underneath foundation, but I don't like how heavy foundation is, and I really like this Halo Glow, and usually turned out right. But considering how much highlighter I put on, it definitely was very overwhelming. And it could have been heavy underneath that Halo Glow. And on top of that, I color corrected, but I put too much color corrector, which the color corrector is heavier in terms of like the texture is heavier than the Halo Glow, which I think both of them together being blended at the same time probably caused some kind of like chaos. And me, I'm living for it, okay? I'm just going through it. I'm blending. I didn't make sure to use different brushes or maybe even a sponge for each section. I didn't think of any of that. I was just going thinking everything is gonna work out in the end for good. But obviously, well, you'll see in the end actually. You'll see. Wait till the end. But look at this base. It looks nice because the beginning is good and the prep is good for the moment, right? And the halo glow is absolutely a beautiful texture. And it was a good idea to put the color corrector because it evened out the skin tones on my mouth area because I have a lot of hyperpigmentation. Next, I had to add on my Fenty, I forgot what it's called, but it's a bronzer and it's my favorite bronzer of all time. And then Juvia's Place has a contour in the shade Congo and I use that one. So both of those together is a killer combo to get that sun-kissed glow but also shadow and definition. So I like to use those together. And then I added my concealer, which I think I should have added a regular flesh tone concealer and then the highlighting concealer. This concealer was one way too light for me and I think it could have only been used in a small section. But anyways, I put my setting spray there because it's always a good idea to add setting spray after you have all that base makeup on so that it could stay, and it also helps with the blending. So I started blending. Now while I'm blending, I'm gonna talk about that under eye highlighter. Usually I use the highlighter that light only for the inner corners of my eye or the inside of my eye, like the ones closest to my nose, that area, but I don't extend it. And I think it's the same one that I use on my eyebrows. So both of those together, so close together, I think it kind of closed in my eye and made my hooded eye look too hooded and heavy on my eye. And then it kind of drooped my face down, which I think that's what ended up happening, which also ends up making me look a bit older in a lot of videos. So I blended this and I blended as much as I could. And yeah, eventually that's where I got. After blending, I tried to add a more highlighting concealer. Obviously this one wasn't a highlighting concealer. I saw that it was flesh tone and it's way more full coverage. So I ended up looking into my makeup bag and I found a more highlighting one and I added it. It looks pretty nice and it is a good concealer. So here I was safe. One of the biggest mistakes that I do with my makeup sometimes is that I use this powder as a setting powder, which never really agrees with my face. So this Revolution HD Super Matte. This one is a banana powder. And I've been trying to use banana powder in the last year or two to help with my makeup because, you know, the YouTube girlies used to say it's a good powder, it's a good setting powder and baking powder for dark skin. In hindsight, like, I can see the vision, but it never really blends well with my skin tone, my skin type, and it's always too matte and too drying. And surprisingly, it doesn't really work well with my setting sprays, which are really amazing setting sprays that really suits my skin type well. Anyways, so I use this and everything looks pretty good and matte, and I even like the skin tone that everything came in. But as you can see, like, my eyebrows and my eyes look very uneven, kind of heavy. I ended up adding the setting spray and, you know, before it even dried down, I started on my eyelashes. I like to get my eyelashes early because I like to add like 3 or 4 coats because my eyelashes are pretty small, but after 3 or 4 coats it looks nice and full. And at the same time, because my eyelashes are small, and because I do so many coats, I don't add a falsie, and I really don't like falsies, and I know it's not the best to do that. I should learn how to put on falsies, but I don't like them. I don't like how they look on me most of the time, and so I don't put them on. So after I was done that, I blended everything, I did my eyes and everything, and now it's time to move on to eyeshadow. So I intentionally wanted to do a bronzy brown look on my eyes, but I dipped into that palette a little too much and it came out way much darker than I thought. And I tried to do the same thing for the other eye, but it just couldn't match up, and that's what I hate. Every time I do one thing on the other eye, it doesn't match. Like, one side is always better than the other, and in this instant it was just darker, and I really tried to dip again to get it darker and to match the eyes, but it just wasn't working out. Anyways, I tried my darndest to blend it out, and I even added a small inner corner highlight, and honestly, this inner corner highlight, it really usually seals the look for me, but again, it wasn't working, and it felt like it was even the wrong color. So I tried to do this K-pop thing and add it just on like the tip of my eyelid to open up my eyes more, but I don't really think that worked. And then I moved on to blush because I was done with the eyes. So I picked up this this is my sister's little blush slash lip thingy from the drugstore. I don't remember what the brand is called. I think it's Quo. It's a beautiful color. You gotta dip it in, let it like kind of melt into your skin. So I blended it up with a brush and it turned out pretty good. It's a very, very, very beautiful color. And I also mixed it with, no, I think that's all I did. And look at that blush. Look at that blush. It's a beautiful blush. It turned out so well and it blended out so well. I think I'd use it for my other videos. And so I also wanted to add a little bit of it on my eyelid so that my face could look a little bit more cohesive. And it did. It helped with the look. I also added on my lips because sometimes I like to match my lips with my blush, especially for like a more nude or a more simpler look. And then I added my brown lip liner. Honestly, this lip liner is elite. I don't even know where it is, but I think it might be in LA Girl lip liner. Yeah, but anyways, it's good. One thing about this part is that I didn't do my lips evenly, but honestly, in the mirror, I couldn't really tell a difference. I just tried to even out the overlining a little bit, but I wanted to keep the liner just in the corners of my mouth because I find it makes my lips look a bit more open. So when I did that, I added my gloss. This is my favorite gloss of all time. I think I should have used a different gloss or added like a nude lippy on it and then added the gloss because the gloss blended, but it kind of looked just a little bit bland. And because of that, I had to add the blush that I used, which added a little bit of something. But honestly, looking back, I think it was still lacking a little bit and it could have used something else, maybe something more dry. As you can see, like I said, the lip liner makes my lips look more open, a little bit mature, but anyways, if I was a professional, I would have taken out my hair and done a hairstyle, but honestly, I wasn't going anywhere. I was gonna stay at home, maybe even do some cleaning or go out in the garden, so I wasn't trying to take out my hair just for this video. And so I just did a pony with my front little thingies out, and I looked pretty cute, right? It looked so good. The makeup looked good. But cue, like maybe even 20 minutes later, when I wanted to get a better shot, better lighting, because I don't have good lighting in my room and technically in my house, so I decided to go outside. If you look closely, the makeup is already caking. It's not looking good. I wish I could really show you the quality, but it's not looking good. This makeup didn't last 30 minutes, and the only thing that lasted was the lippy in the inner corner. Other than that, everything was starting to fall apart. Mind you, it wasn't even a hot day. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Don't take my footstep, change yours, and take your own path. Follow a proper YouTube video. But anyways, I'm gonna make a better video where I have proper steps on how to do a bomb makeup look. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.